Hello again everyone, you have tuned into page 3 here at News9 with me, Sakshi Singh Litoria. I will not waste much of your time. I have a very interesting story in my bag for nostalgia nuggets. Let's take a look. Priyanka Chopra is trending all across our social media profiles, right? Not only for that beautiful white dress, but because of Varanasi. I have a tale about our globe trotter, our global icon, Priyanka Chopra, our beloved PC. Let me tell you about it. Priyanka Chopra's rise to becoming a global icon often looks seamless from the outside. But the truth is that some of the most defining years of her life were also the most difficult. When she was around 12 or 13, she moved to the United States to live with her aunt, shifting between schools in Massachusetts, Iowa, and also New York. It was an age where most of the teenagers are simply trying to fit in, but for Priyanka Chopra, fitting in became a constant battle. She has spoken openly about how she faced harsh racial bullying almost from the moment she entered high school. Classmates mocked her accent, her skin color, the food she ate, even the way she smelled. They called her names like Brownie and Curry and taunted her with comments suggesting she did not belong there. These were not harmless jokes. They were relentless jabs that cut into her confidence every single day. One girl in school targeted her so aggressively that Priyanka would try to avoid crossing her path in the hallway. She recalls being pushed against lockers and hearing cruel remarks that made her feel small, foreign, and out of place. At an age when teenagers often struggle with identity, even in supportive environments, Priyanka was battling comments that made her question who she was and where exactly she belonged. Over time, the constant bullying made her withdraw. She stopped speaking up in class, walked with her head down, and tried her best to go unnoticed. In her words, she just wanted to be invisible. She even approached the school counselor once, but nothing really changed. Every day felt heavier than the last. By the time she was 16, the emotional toll became just too much. She felt like she was losing a sense of herself. The snide remarks, the snickers in hallways, the feeling of standing out in all the wrong ways, it began to chip away at her self-worth. So she finally picked up the phone and called her mother in India, telling her that she did not want to stay in the US anymore. Her mother flew to bring her back home, and that decision changed the course of Priyanka's life completely. Returning to India was a turning point. She joined Army Public School in Bareilly and suddenly found herself in an environment where she no longer had to hide who she was. She slowly began reclaiming her confidence, participating in school activities, reconnecting with her identity, and realizing that the very things she was mocked for abroad were celebrated here. Priyanka has often said that this phase taught her resilience. It showed her what it means to fall apart and rebuild yourself. It taught her that identity should not be something you shrink or soften or make others comfortable. When she talks about those years now, she describes them not with bitterness but with clarity, acknowledging how those experiences shaped her strength, her empathy, and her refusal to be defined by others' perceptions. And perhaps that is the most powerful part of her story, that the same girl who once tried to become invisible in an American high school went on to become the first Indian to headline a major American network drama, walk global red carpets, and build a career across continents. Her teenage struggle with racism did not stop her, but it fueled her further. It's time for our popcorn pick of the week. A very interesting, very intriguing, slightly confusing, but definitely worth a watch. Frankenstein, it's streaming on Netflix at the moment. Let me tell you more about it. Netflix's Frankenstein arrives with the weight of a classic name and the pressure of a million prior adaptations, yet it manages to carve out a space entirely of its own. This is not a retelling that hides behind gothic nostalgia. It's a sharp, contemporary reimagining that leans into morality, obsession, and the uncomfortable truths of scientific ambition. What stands out instantly is the atmosphere, cold, metallic, almost sterile, mirroring a world where human emotions and also scientific hunger collide with brutal consequences. The show refuses to romanticize Victor Frankenstein. Instead, it presents him as a man spiraling between genius and God complex, someone who believes he is saving the world while quietly destroying himself. The creature too is no longer the misunderstood monster we grew up reading about. Here he is unsettling in the best way, intelligent, perceptive, painfully aware of his own existence. His arc becomes the emotional backbone of the narrative, turning the story into a twisted conversation about creators and their creations, about responsibility and about the cost of playing with life. As the series unfolds slowly, the tension never dips. Even the quiet scenes feel loaded, building towards confrontations that feel inevitable yet still startling. What elevates Frankenstein is its visual storytelling, long, lingering shots that force you to sit with discomfort and a muted palette that amplifies the bleakness of its world. The background score is minimalistic but precise, kicking in exactly when the story needs that chilling edge. Performances are very strong across the board, but it's the chemistry, or rather, the fractured electric tension between Victor and the creature that keeps the narrative very, very gripping. Their dynamic feels like a tightrope constantly threatening to snap. The series is not without imperfections though. A few subplots feel undercooked slightly a little bit, and some of the pacing dips appear in the middle of the episodes, but the payoff is worth it. It's thought-provoking without trying too hard, unsettling without being gory, and emotional without being manipulative. Ultimately, Frankenstein on Netflix succeeds because it understands the heart of the original story, that the real monster is not the creation, but the consequences of unchecked ambition. It's a slow burn, a psychological thriller wrapped in sci-fi skin, and a fresh reminder of why Mary Shelley's concept still refuses to die even in 2025. Time to bring you top headlines from the entertainment world in our entertainment wrap of the week. Let's take a look. Parineeti Chopra and Raghav Chadha named their son Neer. Neer means water, and it is also a combination of their names. Archana Puran Singh, Parmeet Sethi's son, got pushed, slapped in Delhi as fans mobbed them for selfies. He revealed this information in their latest vlog. Shriya Saran took to Instagram to call out an imposter by sharing a screenshot of the phone number being used to deceive people. Aditya Dhar lauded Dhurandhar cast's dedication for working 16 to 18 hours daily without complaints at the trailer launch event. Rap icon Nicki Minaj praised Donald Trump's stand on the persecution of religious minorities, calling for an end to faith-based persecution in Nigeria. Gaurav Khanna reunites with wife Akansha Chamola in an emotional family week. Videos go massively viral on social media. ODM music star Humane Sagar dies at the age of 36 after multi-organ failure. During one of the promotional events for her film The Girlfriend, Rashmika Mandanna spoke about once in a relationship with no choice, says Vijay Deverakonda healed pain he did not even cause. Avatar Fire and Ash is all set to hit the big screen soon. The makers dropped new posters showcasing an epic battle featuring Naitiri and Loak. Hollywood superstar Tom Cruise was presented the Academy Honorary Award, also called an honorary Oscar, at the 16th Governor's Award. He is a 4-time Oscar nominee. And last but not the least, for Crispy Chats of the Week, we sat down for an exclusive chat with director Suparna S. Verma for recently released Haq that continues to ace at the box offices. Take a look. Hello everyone, speaking to this episode of Page 3 here at News9 with me is Ace Director Suparna S. Verma. Thank you so much for speaking to News9, Suparna. It's lovely to have you here in our studios. I want to ask you the question that I asked Yami and Imran also. That was my first question. Do you think the story that you have picked up for inspiration for your movie is still relevant in 2025?
My question to you is a question. What has changed for women in the last 40 years since my inspiration? You're still living in a man's world. You are still having the same issues as glass ceilings, gender parity, gender bias. It's in some ways worse. In some ways, there is more awareness, fine, but that's in a small pocket. But women have it as tough. Nothing has really changed, and that's, I think, the reason the story has resonated across the board, across sections, across society, with every woman. I mean, this story is not really for me the story of Shazia and Abbas. It's the story of Suchitra and Ahmed, Amit, or anybody. It's regardless of it. It just travels, and I think it's connected to the hearts and minds of people because there is honest storytelling. And also for me, it's a story of a marriage, right? Of a relationship. which kind of started as a domestic dispute and became a national issue. So
Absolutely. I also want to ask you the risk-taking factor that you have, you've taken head on with this film, because you know that it could have landed in the other arena. Many questions could have been asked. Some of the questions are still being asked. So what would be your answer to those who are leveling the allegations of this film being a propaganda?
I mean, I would ask them, where is the propaganda? I mean, I made Sirf Ek Banda Kafi Hai.
Yes.
That wasn't propaganda. That also talked about a man of faith trying to use his faith to get a woman justice. Here it's a woman of faith who's a 5-time Namazi, who's a Maulvi's daughter, using her faith to get her right to dignity. Where is the propaganda in that? The Quran is quoted and treated with absolute respect. It shows the love for my brethren. There is absolute respect. The film carries its heart on its sleeve, literally. There is nothing hidden. And both the characters are absolutely balanced. You come out understanding Shazia and Abbas, both point of views, which are very important to me and Reshu from day one, since the time we started making this film on a script level. So, I mean, that is our core belief. That is who we are as people. So, I come from a legacy of a film like Banda, now making Haq. I think I should be given some leeway there, and I think everybody who's seen the film has come out saying exactly the same line. Oh, we were surprised. This is not propaganda. This is a very balanced film, because this is a film for a woman's right to dignity, and that's what it's been for me from day one. That, like people say, the inspiration's life, it continues beyond where you end the film. Why did you end it at a victory? And my thing is this: that woman had justice taken away from her 40 years ago, at least on celluloid. I want her to walk that walk of victory with a head held high. And that for me means everything to give justice to Shazia Bano on screen.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But the timing is also, being questioned at the moment, because Bihar elections, of course, and Muslim Yadav vote bank being a dominant aspect as far as Bihar's political arena is concerned. Now, if we are speaking about Muslim religion in Haq, and that particular community is a very dominant part of Bihar politics, that is why somewhere the questions are being raised.
So our release date was set almost 4 months ago, because 7th was the only date with no other film releasing. It was a clean date. Ikkis also was not on that date. Nothing was on that date. We were the only solo release to get a clean window. We had releases after us, we had releases before us. So we wanted to come 2 weeks after Thama, which was a big Diwali release. We wanted to come before Ajay Devgan's film. So this was a clean window for us, and we had said it months in advance. The elections were not even announced, number one. Number two, why now? I mean, I made Banda 3 years ago. Why now then? I mean, so it's not about a matter of why now, why not now? End of the day, some stories are timeless. The story of Haq is timeless, of women's rights is timeless. It's resonated with everybody because of its timelessness. If it was topical, then yeah, I mean, sure, make it then. But some stories go beyond that. And everyone, now that you have seen the film yourself, there is zero propaganda. Is there politics? Yes, there is gender politics. There's politics of marriage, because wherever there is a power equation, politics comes into the picture. It's nothing to do with governance. It's nothing to do with political lines. It doesn't even discuss that. It doesn't even go there. It's not about that in the first place. It's a story of a woman who's fighting for her right to dignity, and a woman and a man who believes in what his belief system is, because it's normalized for him. There's nothing wrong about it in his head. So he uses whatever he can to justify his actions. And he's completely right in his belief. And he comes from a certain place. When you end out walking from the film, you understand Abbas, even though you don't agree with him. And that was important for me, because he says a lot many things than just about his marriage.
In terms of putting the pieces together, were there any aspects of, say, the history or the inspiration in this case that you were reluctant to touch?
No. I'll tell you what, no reluctance as such, it was a choice and a matter, right? After the case, the decision verdict was kind of turned in Parliament. It's there in the supers. I've not shied away from telling you what happened post. But visually, I ended my film on a high, because I wanted to end on a high. For me, I mean, I want to go out of the film feeling good about life, about fighting the good fight. And that's my choice as a filmmaker of how I choose to end it. Did I hold back facts? No, it's all there in black and white, codified, right? So that was something chosen from day one. My idea was to start insular with a woman falling in love with a man she met once for a first time in arranged marriage, setting a whole world around him, and then the world slowly changing and crumbling when he decides to get in a second wife, trying to accept that till the other woman kind of feels shafted of her own dignity and lashes out and reveals something which, had she not revealed, this wouldn't have happened. And also, she's not black and white either. Eventually, she understands Shazia's point of view. There is sisterhood shown in the film, which for me was very important. So I was inspired by the landmark Supreme Court judgment, because it's one of the most important judgments in our country. I mean, everything that happened because of that case is where we are today. And that is one part. But I needed the power of sisterhood to be brought out, because a woman's worst enemy, according to me, is a woman. And the woman's best enemy is the power of sisterhood, because more than bro codes, when women get together, they are untouchable and unbeatable. And I needed Saira to kind of see her point of view and at least have an opinion about her. So there is nobody who's black and white in this film. Everybody comes from a certain place. And that was important to kind of balance in this film, because in a world full of noise, I think the loudest voice is the sound of truth spoken in silence. And that's exactly what Haq does.
Absolutely. But why then get inspired and not just pick up the story as it is and make a documentary film out of it?
Because I'm in the business of entertainment. I'm a commercial filmmaker, and I want to make a commercial film where I will be inspired. The one I'm inspired from was 62 when it happened. My character is not. She had 5 children. She has 3. She was a policeman's daughter. She is a Maulvi's daughter. And I wanted to bring in faith, discuss a lot of other issues, and do it in a different way. And there are other women as well who are mentioned in the film. There is Fuzlun B and Tahira B. So for me, it's a whole multitude of women who I was inspired by, whose stories were all doing rounds at that point of time. And using those inspirations and heading to the Supreme Court judgment, Rishunath and I created a world where we kind of bring this issue to the fore in a different fashion. That's all.
What's your favorite scene from the film?
My favorite scene from the film actually is the scene where after the Shab-e-Barat, in the pre-climax, Imran's sons, kind of disassociate with him, and he comes home to her in her room in that outhouse, and she serves him, the kheer and halwa that she's made, and they have a conversation. For me, it's like I needed that scene always, because I told Rishu that Mahabharat was a dharma yudh. Because you had relatives fighting and killing each other, right?
Absolutely.
Nephew, nieces, everybody against each other. And end of every evening, the fight would stop. The minute the sun set, there's no fighting. And people would go from one tent to the other on the other side and meet each other, check on each other, and next day they would go back to killing each other. That's a very interesting dynamic. And here, it's 17 years of marriage. It's a long fight that they've been fighting, from sessions to Waqf board to High Court to the Supreme Court. They have children in common as well. There is a lot of history. But I wanted all that simmering to at least be kind of seen face to face, because I'm never going to have them talk face to face ever again in the film after this scene. This scene was almost like also a doffing my hat to the Heat scene with Al Pacino and De Niro, where they meet each other one single time in the whole film, and after that he shoots the other guy down. So it's that. It's old school cinema. It's Mahabharat. It's dignity. I believe relationships have dignity. They never scream, they never shout. They have a fighting match, but again, it's done in a very dignified fashion. Where she even says ki bahar log hai, sun lenge. Small things. So all those layers were added to do it in a way that it hits home.
Absolutely, very relatable. In fact, some of the chapters are actually hitting home, like you said. I want to ask you, were you involved in the casting process as well?
I'm the director of the film. I was involved from every screwdriver to every paintbrush to every.
Because some of the directors they just don't bother. They're like, okay, casting director will choose their faces. But I want to ask you, why Yami and Imran?
I made life hell for my casting director Shivam Gupta, where he was casting every actor right down to a passing scene till the last day. If the look did not fit right, or if that spoken word is not said well, it's a visual medium.
Yeah.
In 2 hours, you're going to take me to over 17 years of a marriage. If I do a false note even in a shot, with an image, with a face, with a voice, it changes something. It's like an orchestra. One false note subliminally may affect you. You'll know something is wrong, may not put your finger on it. It has to be done right, whether it's a fabric, whether it's a paint, whether it's a house. We shot the whole film in Lucknow, in and around Lucknow rather, because I wanted the light to be real, I wanted the houses to be real, I wanted you to smell the city, the actors to be present in the moment. And Yami was the first one to come on board when we were writing just the story. She came on board at the story level, where I went and told her the story along with Reshu, and she loved the idea, and she said, great, get the screenplay and we'll take it forward. And for me, there is something about Yami's eyes that has always intrigued me. You know, silent waters run still.
Yeah.
There is an insane amount of fire. She's like a volcano ready to burst. And there is so much of integrity and dignity, and I think rage within those eyes, which was waiting to be tapped. And I think she was consumed by the fire of Shazia Bano, and she kind of rose from it, and she created Shazia Bano. Something that we saw in her eyes in the look test that happened a month before shoot. She was there, she was ready.
What about Imran?
I needed a man, I needed an actor with panache, with charm, and someone who could literally bring so much of depth and layers to Abbas. And I was cracking my head, and you know, Shah Rukh Khan has spoiled the whole world by saying that kainat se kuch mango to, you know, it conspires to give it to you. So I believe in power of manifestation. I believe in asking. What's the worst that can happen? You get rejected, right?
Absolutely.
So with that in mind, like a hopeful suitor, I went to Imran and narrated the film to him. He loved the idea. He had questions. I said, here's my screenplay. All the answers are here. 4 hours later, as I reached home, office rather, I get a call from him saying, I'm on, but I have a worry. I said, what? He said, how will I be perceived? I said, if you are understood, you will be perceived correctly. He said, leave that to me, I'll make him understood. And then after that, he went in with such fearlessness that there were times when I was thinking, oh, I don't think Abbas should do this, because a star is playing this. And he said, what are you worried about? He said, no, you might be misunderstood. He said, when it comes to the understanding game, that's my job. He'll be understood. He made sure his character was understood. The way he played Abbas in such a nuanced fashion. I mean, people, are saying, this is Imran 2.0, and I'm like, this is the same Imran. He's always there. He just did not get this kind of role. He ate it and devoured it. Both my actors, just went at it with absolute gusto.
And to be very honest, I think Imran, through the trailer, appeared to be the villain of the film. But after you watch the film, you don't perceive him as a villain. You actually understand the perspective that he is trying to bring to the table, and that's the beauty. That is why the dialogue is there, no? Akka Bollywood ek taraf, Imran Harshmi.
Yeah, and also it's the beauty of the writing, where we spent a lot of time writing his lines out, his speech out. He needed to be understood, and for him to be understood, Shazia gets understood.
Absolutely.
If you find his speech powerful, you'll find her speech powerful. If he falls short, she will fall short. It was literally a balancing act in everything, because you tilt the scales in the favor, then you're coloring. I wanted to have a conversation with the film, with my audience. I didn't want it to be, people say, oh, it's controversial. I said, no, it's not controversial, it's a conversation. And that's what it's led to. People are talking with their own thoughts, with each other, with the filmmakers. Everybody has a point of view, has a thought, because they understand everybody. And when you understand, you kind of adapt to it. Like, see, for me, faith.
Yeah.
If you read your text, then it's between you and God.
Absolutely.
It's you and Gita, you and Quran, you and Bible, you and Vedas, right? But the minute you have someone else interpret it for you, they bring in their own color. That's the reason the emphasis, the last word in the film is Ikra, Pad. Understand for yourself. And I think when you realize that the audiences are intelligent, they're the same people who made Mother India a hit, they made Rang De Basanti a hit, they made insane amounts of film hits. So it's not like people don't understand. You are talking to their heart more than their mind. And when you talk to the heart knows.
Okay, and last but not the least, Supan, I'm really curious to know what's next. What's the next big thing in your pipeline?
See, I'm not announcing anything yet, but I'm genre agnostic, I'm language agnostic, I'm region agnostic, I'm spreading my wings. I am planning a whole bunch of interesting things one by one, which I want to attack and do, because I believe one should be limitless in what one is doing and exploring. And I have some really interesting stuff in the pipeline, which I will talk about soon.
And once you announce it, I'm expecting to have you back in my studio.
Absolutely, you have my number.
Thank you so much for speaking to News9, and congratulations for the success of Hug. Of course, you're placing it and it's going to waste for the coming weeks to come.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's all we have to pack it up on this edition of Page 3 this weekend. But do stay tuned. Next week, I'll come back with many more stories, gossips, and a lot of crispy chats. Till then, take care. Ciao.